right, we will go ahead and get started as people come in and join us. Welcome to our webinar, Home for the Holidays with Parent and Family Relations. As we're getting started, folks are typing in the chat their favorite holiday traditions, and I'm loving talking about going to National Forest Land in Colorado. That sounds really fun to pick out your Christmas tree. Very cool. Well, we're going to do brief introductions and then we're going to share our favorite holiday traditions. So my name's Christine Self and I serve as Director of Parent and Family Relations. Connie?
I'm Connie Watson. I serve as Program Director for Family Engagement and Academics for Parent and Family Relations.
Well, I'm Brianna Valdivia. I am the Event Coordinator for Parent and Family Relations.
Awesome. All right, so Connie, what is your favorite holiday tradition?
Well, coming from East Texas, where Greenberg turkeys were just right up the street, that's our big thing is to have Greenberg turkeys for Thanksgiving. We do something different for Christmas, but it's one of the things that my children have always enjoyed when they come to my house. Even my son, who will be joining us, he and his family will be joining us this year with a Greenberg turkey for the first time for baby Oliver. So I'm sorry, I had to get that grandparent thing in. I do want to go with Tim Rooney, though, who's in the chat, to go cut down a tree in the National Forest. I've always wanted to do that. So I see you, Tim.
All right,
Brianna, what is your favorite tradition?
So my favorite tradition that, my mom and me and my sister have always tried to do every year is try a new recipe. Just to kind of make sure our Thanksgiving dinner spread doesn't get boring. We always try to do something new, and if we really like it, then we carry it over into the following year and maybe replace it with something that we're kind of getting tired of.
Awesome. Well, I'll share mine. Every Thanksgiving, my husband and I like to turn on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. It was so amazing last year because the Texas Tech Going Band actually marched in it, which was really cool. And then after the parade, we put it on the dog show, the American Kennel Club dog show. We don't have dogs. We have cats, and one of our cats really enjoys watching that dog show. So we always put it on. Even if we're not staying at home the rest of the afternoon, she likes to watch the little doggies. So we're going to go ahead and share some information with you. I'm going to share my screen. We have put together some information about, what to expect having your Red Raider home for the holidays for the first time. And we talked to both families and students to share this information with you. So without further ado, welcome once again to our presentation on Home for the Holidays. We have already introduced ourselves, but again, we are Christine, Connie, and Brianna. We are on the staff of Parent and Family Relations, here to help you support your students. Morgan is also a part of our staff. She is out today at a conference learning about orientation strategies for parents and families. So we're excited to see what she comes back with. But again, we talked to both families and students. You may remember when you registered for this webinar, we asked you, what is one concern or question that you have before your student comes home for the holiday. So we mined some of that information as well as information we gathered from students. All right, so getting us started, Brianna is going to talk about what folks told us they were most looking forward to.
Yes, so we asked families what they were looking forward to the most during the holidays with their student. And so we got a lot of different responses. On the screen here, you'll see some of the more common ones, which is time with my child, hearing about all their new experiences and their new friends. We got a comment that said, I want them to know that we are very proud and that they've been missed and that they're welcomed in our house and loved beyond measure. And then something we would, kind of want y'all to think about is if there's anything that you would add, if you want to drop that in the chat. If there's anything that you're looking forward to most about having your student back, we'd love to hear that feedback from you if you didn't get a chance to fill that out during registering for the webinar. But We hope your Thanksgiving with your student goes off without a hitch, and we hope that y'all have a great time. And all the information we're going to be talking about today really is just to kind of give you a heads up about what to expect and just some things we've seen in the past.
All right, and with that in mind, we're going to share some topics again to think about and to discuss with your students as they head home. And so one of the big themes that we get is that Thanksgiving is just too short of a holiday.
Indeed, those Thanksgiving holidays just go by just like that. It seems like you're so excited to get them home, and there's lots of preparation, and then they're there, and then they're gone back to school again. So that's one of the things that you guys have been talking about, is the fact that the days go by so fast. There's so many people that are clamoring to talk to your student and to really reconnect very quickly, getting them back used to being in the household with you after they've been on their own for a couple of months, or 2 or 3, I guess. And some of the things that we talk about time is how much time do they need to prepare for their final exams, and will they be preparing for their final exams? Well, you'll find out later that students really need rest, and they want to spend some time resting, but with this year, the turnaround time is really quick between the end of classes, Thanksgiving, come back for 2 days, and then finals start again, or begin. So your student may need to spend some time this year, for instance, because of the time prepping for finals, of course. Try to get everything all in. Just remember, this is a short time, and they're going to be back in a couple of weeks. So just enjoy absorbing them being in the house again, all the dirty laundry, all the additional dishes that will need to be washed, and the laundry. Oh dear, the laundry. They're going to bring everything home that needs to be washed. It's always really hard for them to turn back around and go back, but I think it's one of those things that, to reassure your student, well, you'll be back in a couple of weeks. You need to focus and finish strong, and really let them know how proud you are of them, and the fact that they took the time to come home to be with a family for just a quick bit before going back. And, it kind of gives them that re-energy, think of it as a time to re-energize your student. But you'll get them back here in a couple of weeks, and you'll have them for a month, and then you'll be wanting them to, please go back to school. My electric bill has gone too high. But anyway, just enjoy the moment, enjoy them, absorb it all, and know that you've done a good job supporting them this semester, and they need to know that you still support them as they finish off strong. So that's what I would say about the family time being too short.
All right, another thing that pops up for our students and our families is this idea that students will often say when they come home, I'm not in high school anymore. I've grown in my independence. I've been away from home all these weeks, making my own schedule, doing my own thing. And just because I'm now home, that really hasn't changed. So you can see some comments on your screen. These are coming from families. One told us that adjusting to the independence that has grown and developed in our child, and navigating with the previous rules and expectations of our home is going to be a challenge. Another one shared with us, I'm sure the freedom will feel different now that she has experienced it. We will have to modify our expectations while she's at home. Some other folks just, again, reiterated this idea of assimilating back to, kind of the house rules and home structure and things now that they've had that independence. It's very different. Student routines are different. So just be ready for some of that. And I would recommend, we talk to families all the time about this, but we would recommend talking about kind of these house rule ideas ahead of time so that everyone's on the same page once your student gets home. Thanksgiving is going to be a good kind of dry run to kind of prepare for the longer winter break. But have that conversation ahead of time to ward off any misunderstandings or arguments so that you can really enjoy the holiday. And we encourage you to be prepared to honor some of your students' newfound maturity and independence, and to think in terms of communication rather than curfews. trying not to micromanage every second of their time and let them use some of that freedom even while they're at home. But really communication here is key. So, if your expectations are that they arrive home at a certain time, think about maybe compromising on that a little bit and communicating ahead of time, just so that you can, again, not spend your short Thanksgiving holiday, arguing about some of those things.
So we'll often hear students say or use the phrase, I'm exhausted. And we know that some families have some concerns about them feeling overwhelmed and how they'll kind of be able to still have time with their student. Some comments that we got were, he's so tired. How much studying should he be doing while he's at home? I'm worried that they'll be too exhausted to do anything. And just some things we, want to keep you all in mind to think about is travel in any form is tiring. It's been a long semester and they're kind of approaching those finals, driving back and forth, whether they're on a bus or they're on a plane or they're doing that drive themselves, can be really draining. So think about if they've got 8 a.m.s this whole semester, they might want to take this time to kind of relax and just enjoy, slowing down right before they got to get back to it while they're here. Sleep routines are likely going to be very different than when they left home. Oftentimes, students tend to stay up later and study later at night because that's when they have time. So try not to plan anything like super early or anything very time specific. We always recommend is just kind of go with the flow. Use this as the opportunity to kind of test them being back home. We also hear that they're tired, they're burnt out, that they're not looking forward to the drive home sometimes because of how long that drive takes. So just being mindful of all these things is really important so that they can have a good experience. It kind of sets the tone for the second time around they come back.
So sometimes students say, I'm changing and trying new things. Maybe their hair is different when they get home. Maybe it was long, now it's short. Maybe it was brown, now it's pink. Sometimes students, when they get off into their new journey as a college student, they try different things and they have different opinions because they're learning about themselves probably more than you realize. And so being concerned or worried about adjusting to their identity or their evolution as a student, as your child, they're going to be, they will be different. They will have had different routines. They will have different opinions. They may be a little bit more extroverted than they were before they left, or they may be more introverted. They'd be more thoughtful, and have more perspective as a whole. So being curious about how they're going to, quote, fit back into the family. It's not that they've ever really left the family. They're still your child. They're still your student, but they will need a little bit of grace as they learn about themselves now, how they fit back into the family, even for that short period of time, but more importantly, when they come back for Christmas. But their routines may be different. They used to like Frosted Flakes every morning. Yes. So you bought a bunch of Frosted Flakes. Well, now they don't want Frosted Flakes. They want avocado toast, just to kind of be stereotypical. But that's just something new that they realize they like avocado toast. It's more healthy for them or what have you. They may be a little bit more vocal about things that they like and what they don't like. You're not used to that. Certainly they're going to be respectful and we want to encourage you to remind them that the respect needs to still be in place. But they may be different and it'll be fun. Be curious. Oh, you colored your hair. Why did you do that? Well, that's great. Tell me about that experience. Did you have fun doing it? Where did you see that? I mean, just being curious about their own growth. I know when mine were growing up, when they started to talk, why would they say things like that? Or why are they walking or talking that way? Or why do they want to put their clothes on like that now? When they went to kindergarten, they all of a sudden wanted to wear purple and green instead of the blue that it's just something different. As they grow, they're learning about themselves. But just again, be open, curious, but maintaining that respect in the home. So I think that's pretty much what we can talk about. And having open conversations and being willing to listen and have, an open mind.
Another thing our students have told us is that when they go home, they feel a lot of pressure, and a lot being pulled in a lot of directions. They want to see you. They want to see their families. They also want to reconnect with their friends from back home. And that can cause a little bit of stress even, when they're trying to figure out, again, how to fit everything into this very short holiday. So again, they said they were concerned maybe about balance between family time and time with their peer group. Families have told us she wants to be at home, but we are doing Thanksgiving out of town, so she won't get to see her friends from back home because we're going to another relative's home for Thanksgiving. And so just be ready for some of that back and forth between family and friends. One student told us, I'm looking forward to catching up with my friends if I have time, hopefully at Christmas at least. So, they really do want to reconnect with those relationships from back home. And, the truth is relationships with friends or significant others, even from back home, may be strained, may be different. As Connie said, students often go to college and they discover new things about themselves. And so when they come home, they may find that really easy, simple friendship with a pal from back home who maybe went to another institution, they've diverged in their interests a little bit, and that's completely normal. So some of those friendships may not be so simple and easy as they used to be. So talk to your student ahead of time about expectations for family plans. If you have got a hard and fast, we're having Thanksgiving dinner at 2 p.m. on Thursday, and we really need you and want you to be there for that. And then you'll have time to spend some friends on maybe Friday or Saturday. So just talk again, communication is key. So have those discussions ahead of time, again, so that no feelings are hurt, and your student's not worrying about whether or not they're going to get time to see their friends while they're home for Thanksgiving break. And again, the winter break is longer and there will be more opportunities there too.
Stop asking me so many questions. You call me every day. Why do you still have questions? Okay, that's what students say. And we do. And I just told you to be curious about how they're doing and what they're doing. And now I'm telling you, don't ask so many questions. It's a balance. And as parents, you know when your student is turning you off or when the conversation is ended. Just be cognizant and sensitive to questions, especially if you've asked all the questions and now you're going to grandma's house or a family member's house and they're going to get the same questions all over again. Help them navigate that. Maybe you can interrupt and say, oh yeah, he's been so busy. He's been so tired. He may need to step outside for a little bit just to get, just to kind of get away. Run interference for him when those big questions come. But a lot of times students tell us that, I'm the first one in my family. I know that they have questions, but I don't know how to explain it. Being sensitive and understanding that they themselves are going through a transition. And so how they communicate that transition to you might come in little spurts and small bursts, spread out your questions, I guess is what I'm trying to say, instead of asking everything at once when they get out of the car. Give them time to readjust a little bit and give them time to bring it up. They may just say, hey, I want to talk about this, or let me tell you about all the wonderful things. Give them the opportunity to own their experience as they're talking to you about it, rather than you asking all the questions. Now, certainly you're going to be asking them about class and how they're doing in their grades. And there's a lot of pressure as we're going into finals. So we want to make sure that we're allowing them some time just to say, I'm doing fine. I know we've gotten some questions about how will we know about academic standing? What if they're not doing well? How do we help them? I think you just have to give them space. I think you have to know that this is a hard semester because they're transitioning. It's a different rigor. There's a lot of different expectations for themselves that maybe they're not meeting their own expectation. So you jumping on top of that and, well, you're not going to go back in the fall or in spring if you don't, that it's not helping necessarily with them trying to figure out. The resources are here. We're going to talk about a resource later, actually here in just a few, that they can kind of prepare for finals. But there are a lot of different resources that they have and they can take advantage of between now and when they leave for Thanksgiving. The tutoring center, learning center, coaching, academic coaching, their student success specialist, the writing center, supplemental instruction. All of these things are available to them. They just need to reach out. And if you will, Christine, go ahead and go to that next slide about next week. You might want to encourage your student to attend our countdown to finals, which will be held on the 20th between 10 and 3 in our sub ballroom. This is kind of a finals prep. They can check in. There's going to be a dedicated space for studying. There'll be some academic success support there for them to have some questions answered and to kind of get a plan for studying for finals, as well as there's some food and some beverages that they can grab in between classes, but really trying to give them an opportunity to get organized for this last push. And I highly, 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 highly recommend that you encourage your students to take advantage of this. These are some of the things that are happening with student success here at Texas Tech. And we really, 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 really want our students to take advantage of this. It might take a little pressure off of them if they have a plan of action on how they're going to approach finals and the end of the semester. So make sure that you're talking to them about that. This information has been shared with all of our students on campus in various ways, but never hurts. If you want to help, this might be the one thing you could say, oh, you should do this. And then you don't have to have those conversations at Christmas or at Thanksgiving about, are you doing stuff? You'll know that they've already done something.
So this one is kind of going back to that family dynamic and changing. We had some students say that their sibling took their room. Some things that we kind of heard was from students, and they kind of mentioned they gave my room to my brother, and now I have to be in the guest room. It's weird. My sibling wants to talk to me more. He's like a grown-up now. My sibling seems annoyed that family keeps asking about how I'm doing and not how they're doing. So sibling dynamics are going to be a little bit different. So kind of helping them navigate through that. There might be some fights that break out about, well, I do this now that you're not here, but this used to be done when I was here. So kind of knowing that dynamic is going to change and there might be a little bit of stress happening with them. Some advice we like to kind of just say is that while sibling dynamics might be different now, that one of your students is away at college, even though they said it was fine to repurpose their old room, they might still have some feelings about it once they return home. So be prepared for that. We've had some students say that often their feelings are hurt just because they didn't think it was going to happen so soon. So keeping those things in mind. There may be some hurt feelings on either side of the sibling relationship just because they feel like one didn't miss them as much. We had some students say, I expected my younger sibling to miss me and be excited I was home when they weren't. Was kind of disappointed about that. Be sure to include younger siblings in the family conversations and all the excitement about college students, their first semester. This kind of makes the younger sibling feel included versus feeling left out. It may put too much pressure on the college student to answer all of those questions because they don't want to make them feel upset. So just some things to know.
All right. Well, we talked about some of the concerns that students and families had about coming home, but there's all the good stuff too. So here's some things that students told us they love about being home for the holidays. A lot of it has to do with the food. Talking about how their families make great dinners. Food, just in general, more familiar. They want that mom's potato casserole when they come home. Um, a lot of them really appreciate that, maybe their families take a look at their vehicles and make sure that the car's taken care of while they're home. That's a really nice thing to do if you have time. Really just getting a break from school, time to relax. Like we said, they can be really tired. Not only just from the long semester, but the travel. Um, Looking forward to warm, humid weather. Lubbock can get kind of cold. We've already had mornings that are, around they're in the 30s and 40s, so it gets a little bit chilly. So they're looking forward to whatever their home climate is like. Getting to see everybody, making new memories, lots of fun. And then this one pretty much made me laugh. They pay for everything. So your students getting a little financial break while they're at home. So isn't that nice? So right now, we're going to use the chat and then we're going to share too. What is your or your student's favorite holiday dish? So what's your student's favorite holiday dish? Please put in the chat. I'm going to ask Brianna, what is your favorite holiday dish?
I'm gonna have to say it's my mom's green bean casserole. It's simple, but we don't really eat it at all throughout the year other than Thanksgiving. So I always really look forward to having that as my majority of my meal.
All right, Connie, you mentioned some special turkey earlier, but favorite holiday dish?
Yes, we have to have the smoked Greenberg turkey. That's whether you like it or not, that's what's going to happen. But because my husband is not a big Greenberg turkey fan, but he's also not a green bean casserole fan. So we always have to have all these sides. I think it's just the variety of sides that we bring. Of course, there's macaroni and cheese and scalloped potatoes, sweet potato casserole. But my personal favorite is my mother's recipe for cornbread dressing. And I make it every year, and it's different every year because I think she didn't tell me the truth on all her ingredients, and I'm still trying to figure it out. She won't tell me. I call her and ask her every Thanksgiving. She will not tell me.
Well, keep
What
the
about you, Christine?
Oh, I was gonna say keep the chat coming. We got some votes
Yeah.
for sweet potatoes, mac and cheese, and Tim Rooney is gonna eat large volumes of food and then go cut down a Christmas tree. So that's pretty cool. I would say my favorite thing about Thanksgiving is my mother's pecan pie. I'm a dessert gal. My grandmother always said, eat dessert first because you just never know, right? So I love to attack those desserts. And pecan pie is probably my favorite. Oh, we got to vote for cream corn. Yum. All right, we'll keep those chats coming. We're going to share just some closing remarks and some reminders. Again, as you approach this holiday, we genuinely hope that you just have a wonderful time with your student. See it as a practice run for the longer winter break. Again, communication ahead of time is really important, so that everyone has a good time. So Brianna, what closing advice do you have? Closing thoughts?
Really just to soak in this little test run, kind of cautiously see how they're doing, because I think if they have a negative experience this first time, it might set the tone when they come back for the holidays. I know that was my experience with my parents. So definitely try to make this a really positive experience, very understanding, because then they're really excited to be done with the semester and go back home because they had such an amazing time. So I hope y'all enjoy having your students there. I know that they really much enjoy being back.
All right, Connie?
I think what I would add is just take some time to stop and watch, to look at your child and see the growth, both emotionally, physically, they look different. Sometimes they gain, sometimes they lose. But just taking the time to slow down and really appreciate that human being that's sitting in your room with you at this moment. I think that's probably, and take pictures, lots of pictures. I mean, not posed things, but just a lot of candid, because your kids will love looking at those when they get down the road, when they get older. They'll go back, oh, I remember that Thanksgiving, or I remember that Christmas, and oh, that was so much fun. But if they're not taking pictures, but you can take pictures, and yeah, you can share it on social media and things like that, but save some just for them for later on and let them know how much you love them and how proud you are of what they're doing of being a college student in today's world. So that's what I would say.
Awesome. All right, as we close out, we just have a few little reminders. If you're still not sure how your student is getting home for the holidays, there are a very few seats left on the break shuttle trips. If someone can put that link in the chat, that would be awesome. There's seats left to El Paso, Texas. Thank you, Brianna. There are a handful, maybe 1 or 2 seats left for a couple of the other cities. I know that Houston is sold out and San Antonio is definitely sold out. This morning, there were maybe 1 or 2 seats to Dallas and Austin. We did get some questions in the registration about how to get to the airport. Texas Tech does not have a dedicated shuttle to get people to and from the airport, so your student would need to get a ride from a friend or take Uber or Lyft. Both operate in Lubbock. If your student has a car here, there is an airport shelter park with a handy shuttle right next to the airport that they could drive over to. But if you have any questions, please reach out, and you can also put questions in the chat. Sibling Saturday.
Yes, so some upcoming events to think about, potentially having your student's sibling come to the university. We have our date for Sibling Saturday, which is February 15th. So if you don't know, Sibling Saturday is an opportunity for your sibling to come and spend some time with your college student, kind of one-on-one. We create a variety of experiences for them to kind of see the campus, see some of the opportunities, and just kind of spend a day in your college student's life. And so we'll be putting some more information about registration, what the theme is for this year, and the different tracks that your student can choose. That way it's all meaningful to them and impactful to them. So just keep an eye out for that. Stay connected with us. We'll be updating you all through every step of registration and the process and what that looks like.
Wonderful. And one last reminder, something exciting that just came out.
Oh, drum roll. And Morgan would normally have been here to talk about this. She has been the person behind the scenes, if you will, that has really gotten this new opportunity going for PFR, and that's our Red Raider Family Cookbook, Recipes from Near and Far Away. It is now digitally available to you through that scan code, that QR code that you see there on the screen. We are excited to roll this out. These are recipes collected from alumni and students and faculty and staff, and of course, parents and families. So be sure to check that out. It's been kind of cool to see what all was in there. And the little stories that go along with the recipes was a great add. We collaborated with our hospitality here on campus to provide this for you. So I hope you'll check that out.
All right, well, we want to thank you all for joining us for our webinar on Home for the Holidays. We hope you have a wonderful time with your students and your families, and safe travels wherever you're going. And please do remember that we're Parent and Family Relations. You can always reach out to us with questions about anything related to your student being here at Texas Tech. All right, so thanks everybody. Happy holidays.